Witchy Wednesday. Today we're going to go over how to do a house sealing and clearing spell. So this is a tutorial, one of the first that I've done to actually teach a form of magic. So right now we are currently in the Mabon holiday. And the Mabon holiday is essentially to celebrate the harvest as well as to honor the divine feminine. Because right now the divine feminine is very prevalent. I know that some of the monotheistic religions such as Christianity has tried to completely erase the divine feminine. However, she's very real and she's very present. So it makes sense during this time to utilize that energy because the mother always protects and the mother provides. When you go through mythologies of all different cultures, you will see a plethora of goddesses that were protective goddesses. And right now an aspect of the Morgan, which if you do not know the Morgan, I implore you before you invoke her or do any kind of magic with her, please check out my other video called The Call of the Morgan to get more information about her before you do this. That's just to keep you safe because you shouldn't be calling on anything that you're not sure about. Just a good tip. But yeah, so we're going to be honoring the divine feminine. We're going to be utilizing that energy in an aspect of the Morgan that is reigning at the moment is Macka. And Macka is the goddess of sovereignty. She's the horse. She's, things to honor her is the apple because it links to the Isle of Avalon, as well as apples and spirituality are tokens of knowledge, as well as they were food for the divine because when you cut it in half, the seeds in it create a pentagram. So it is a good offering to have, as well as I use it on my altar, which, forgive me, there was really no way for me to display my altar and talk at the same time. So I have pictures of it that you'll see before and during, just so you can get an idea. And I'll go through each thing just so you can have a better understanding. But yeah, Mabon is essentially Witch's Thanksgiving, and it's right before the fall equinox. And the fall equinox, sorry, my cat's ridiculous. The fall equinox is when the veil starts to get thin, and it gets thinner all the way to Samhain, okay? And when you do a house sealing spell, it's good to do it during the two halves of the year. So you do it during the fall equinox, and then you would do it again during the spring equinox. So that way you have cats. So that way it would make sense that one of my familiars is here while I'm trying to do this. So I apologize in advance if he's just rude. So yes, before I was so rudely interrupted, fall equinox. So the veil is going to start to get thinner, and it would be an auspicious time to do this, as well as the fall equinox this year is a very nurturing and mothering energy. So like I said, the mother protects and the mother provides, and it's just best to use that energy. So what you will need for this, we'll go over what you'll need. So first we should talk about magic. Okay, so when you do magic, one, understand what you're doing. Two, it's about intentions. So whatever is in your mind, whatever you're visualizing is what you're going to manifest. Typically, spells take about 30 days to fully come to fruition, especially the more transformative the magic, the kind of longer it takes, but the results are more dramatic, okay? So for this spell, we're going to be invoking the Morgan, but also ties to ourself and our ancestors, as well as nature. So we're going to be utilizing those energies. So it's a very Celtic spell. But after you do the spell, or any spell, you are to forget it. You are to cast and forget, because otherwise your intention could be thwarted based off of how you think about it. So say if you're obsessing about how you did the spell, you could thwart your intention. So best practice with any spell, once you do it, you forget. What I would also recommend, if you are beginning witchcraft or you dabble a little bit, or you're eclectic like me, I don't belong to a coven, and a lot of the spells out there, they're usually Wiccan, which, like I said, the Wiccans are great and all, but it's not personal to you. A spell has to be personal to you. It doesn't have to rhyme. It doesn't have to do anything. It has to be personal to you. It has to be felt. You have to say it with conviction, like you mean it, like you're meaning business, because you're essentially trying to force open a doorway to the universe to get what you want. You're just trying to force open a pathway that wasn't there. So it may get a little bit chaotic, but it's necessary. It's all for your best intention and highest good. But if you do dabble, get you a grimoire where you write your spells down. The best way to learn magic and be cause and effect of what you do is to put it in your grimoire and then later write what the result was. So that way you know what you did correctly and you can kind of figure out what you did wrong. Because like I said, there's lots of books out there, but it's not personal to you. It was personal to the author. It's not personal to you. So that's what you do. So with this spell, we're going to cleanse the house, and then we're going to cleanse the property boundary. And after we do that, after we cleanse it, we essentially seal it so nothing can get in and nothing can get out. So that's why it's important for you to cleanse it thoroughly. Otherwise, you could trap whatever's inside your house with you. You don't want to do that. And it just creates more of a defense system if you have that. So what we're going to use today, so I have little figurines, of the Morgan to invoke her. You will also need water and salt put together. You will need a black candle. The bigger, the better. And that's just because for this spell, we're going to need the black wax to seal the bottles. Bottle protection spells are one of the oldest forms of magic that has been recorded in history, and it's primarily a nature-based thing found in the Celtic traditions, as well as in the Slavic traditions. So it's been recorded. So we're going to utilize both of those for this spell. But yes, you need a black candle. I would pick something that's personal to your family. Or something that is symbolic to you. I have an elk horn, which is, a stag horn, because my family crest is black and red, just like the Morgan, and we have the stag. So this is personal to us. It was given to me by a family member that they found. So it's very personal to me, and I do charge it. Like I said, have things that embody who you're trying to invoke. The Morgan statues. This statue is actually one of the best ones I've ever found of her that truly depicts her, and it was from an Etsy shop in Ukraine. You're going to need bottles, okay? You don't have to go and get fancy with it. I found these at the Dollar Tree, and I kind of buy as many as I can just because they don't always have them in stock. Or something you can do is if you drink alcohol or anything like that, you can utilize the glass bottles. You need glass because glass is part of nature. So you need that to encapsulate the spell because essentially you're trapping stuff inside of it. So it has to be glass and it has to be nature-based. We're also going to have bundles of rosemary. This is what we're going to use to cleanse the house. And we have Palo Santo. So Palo Santo is a really great incense and cleansing herb, and wood, and that's because it cleanses like negative energy. Sage is good, but sage isn't going to get rid of a deity. I mean, neither will technically this, but you'll have a higher chance of this getting whatever you don't want in your house out. Rosemary is a really good protective herb as well. That's why people used to plant it in front of their homes and hang it up. Also, I have carnelian stones. I have a stone of carnelian. Carnelian's a really great stone because it absorbs negative energy and it outputs good. So this is really great. And then I'm going to utilize the stone of obsidian, which is very symbolic to the Morgan, as well as it is a protective and grounding stone. Because remember, magic is utilizing energies from different things, combining them together, using your intention, and throwing it out there. So as much energy as you can back behind your intention, the better. So that's why we use all these different things. It's not just to be fancy. It's to utilize that energy that each item emits so you can back your intention and it will have a higher success rate. Okay, you're going to need salt. Salt is to create a boundary around your property line. I don't go my full property. You can. The woods is sacred to the Sidhe, so I do not impede on their ground. But for my area, I do this, from the beginning of my property to the end. Okay, so you're going to create a barrier, which goes into, you're going to need a compass. If you don't know the directions of your house or your property, example would be if you don't know the directional corners like north, south, east, and west, you're going to need a compass. If you don't have a physical compass, that's fine. You can get these off, you can get I think they have an app where you can use it. So that way you know where the south point is, the north point is, the east, west, vice versa. You're going to need 4 mirrors. And that's because evil cannot see itself. And it will reflect back. So if you want to repurpose, because I love repurposing, women, ladies, use your compact mirrors. If you don't want to have to go buy anything, you've already got it. Because I know once you use, like your powder or whatever, it's gone. But when you do that, you write Macka in a spiral all the way around it. These are going to get planted in your property. Okay, on the 4 corners, you're going to have this, an acorn or something symbolic of acorn. You're going to have some herbs and the bottle that you plant in the ground. Okay, this reinforces that boundary of the property. Because what the goal of this is that you have at least 2 defense mechanisms for your home. And so you're going to have the boundary of the property. You're going to have that, but then you're also going to have the house sealed. So whatever is not meant for you or that's to your highest good is not going to be able to cross the property line. And if it somehow makes it, it's not going to be able to cross your threshold. That's the idea of this. You're going to need, I saved these because I'm like that, but like Kentucky Bourbon Barrel, they have horses on their the tops for their beer. And like I said, horses are very symbolic of Macka. So if you do not have oak, you can use these because it embodies something of the Morgan. But you're going to write in red, which is also symbolic to the Morgan and invoking the mother. You're going to write the sign inside of it of oak. And oak, the sign of oak is a backwards pi sign, so let me see if you can see this. Yeah, it's a backwards pi sign. I know this is not a good, there we go. So it's a backwards pi sign. You're going to have 4 of these so you can plant it in the ground. I don't have acorns this year, wasn't meant for me to have, but I have these, which is metal, so it won't get eaten or anything. And then you're also going to need some nails. You either need iron or you need steel. What you're going to do is you're going to bend them, which I'll show you how, or at least how I do it, if you don't really have an idea. You're going to bend them because you're going to put them in the bottle. So let me explain the bottle. This bottle is going to have herbs in it, some protective herbs like agrimony. Agrimony is great for getting rid of hexes and curses and things of that. So if you're worried about someone casting against you, agrimony, okay? Angelica root is a very protective herb as well. We also have patchouli, which is symbolic of the Morgan. It's also a protective herb. We have brick dust, which is used to combat evil, like demons, things of that nature. And we're also going to use echinacea. I don't have the herb form, but I do have the tincture that I made from the herb form, so I'm just making do. Echinacea is good to thwart illnesses, diseases, because echinacea as a herb in itself will treat illnesses and any kind of infections. So my spell embodies protecting from illness and disease as well. So whatever is not meant for you to your highest good is going to be retracted away from you. Okay? You're going to need water with salt, so that way you have the elements of water and land. Okay, and then you're going to have a candle which embodies fire. You're going to have this which embodies air. So you have all the elements covered. In the bottle, I said you're going to use the herbs. You're going to put your bent nail inside of it, and then you're going to put glass. It's best if you use things from your property or things that occur around you. Like I wouldn't just go recommend you buying stuff because it's going to have no personal value to you. So it's not really going to aid you in any way. Because I live where I live, glass sometimes happens or if I drop something that is glass, I save the shards for things like this. So I just cut it or use a hammer to break it. And you use this because the nails and the glass is going to cut and shred whatever's coming your way. So these bottles, herbs for protection and all that. Then you're going to have glass and nails. And then the next thing is you're going to need your essence. You're going to need either spit, urine, or blood. Now, I know that sounds pretty daunting for some people, but let me explain why. Okay, it's completely logical reasoning. You have to have your essence. And the reason is, so say if evil's coming towards you, curses, things of that nature, or intentions, just bad vibes, whatever's being sent to you is going to go directly to this bottle and trap it. And once it's trapped inside this bottle, it's going to rip it to shreds with the nail and the glass. And then it's going to get contained in here. If your bottle breaks, you will have to do the spell over again, okay? Because if you have this on you and say it breaks randomly, that's your sign that something was inside of it and now it's released in your house or wherever you are. So you will just need to re-cleanse and then seal it again. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's better to protect yourself than to not. And a key thing with the essence, blood. Everybody wants to go to blood because they think it's, they think it's great, or they just think it's witchy. Okay, spit and urine will work just as well. However, blood has more ramifications if you do this incorrectly. Blood ties, okay, and it doesn't just tie to you; it ties to your entire bloodline. So if you do this incorrectly, you don't follow directions or what have you, you could have bigger, drasticer ramifications for this. Okay, so we're gonna put all that in there, then we screw the thing shut. You're gonna write the oak symbol on the bottle, so more enforcement of that oak, which is a protective tree. And then you're going to take the wax and seal it over the bottle. Okay, so you're gonna do all this at the altar. After you cleanse the house, you're gonna go to your altar. You're gonna create your bottles. You're going to seal it, and then that's when you do the whole placement thing. Now, when you get bottles, you're going to need enough for every doorway in your house. So if you have a front door, back door, side door, whatever, you need a bottle for that. I would also have a bottle that you carry on your person at all times. Just, in case you're out and about, you need a little bit of protection, have it. I also put them over my windows that can be easily opened, so that way, it deflects what's coming towards it. And I also repurpose. So say the bottles that I used and for the previous half of the year, so say the bottles that I used during spring to seal the house, I don't get rid of those. I plant those outside. So I'm constantly reusing those, and it just makes my barrier more protected and strong because I have all that energy. I have, every 6 months I have that energy, and it's just more bottles in the ground, and it's just more effective that way. And you don't have to waste them because what are you going to do with them? You're going to throw them away? You can't throw magic away. It's just not how it works. So I'm going to show you how to go about this. So first things first, you have all your goods that you need, okay? Then you're going to call the quarters. You're going to go north, south, east, west. Usually you start at east. First you go, I call upon the watchtowers of the east and the element of air. Then you turn your body. You physically turn your body. You invoke the pentagram for each direction as you say it. So I invoke the watchtowers of the east and the element of air. And then you do this, turn your body to the next direction. I invoke the watchtowers of the south and the element of fire. This, turn your body. I invoke the watchtowers of the west and the element of water. This, turn your body. Then you go to the north. I invoke the watchtowers of the north and the element of earth. You do this. The circle of the Morgan is closed. So you now have the Morgan's presence. Then you call on the Morgan. Okay? So let me open my thing here so I can give you the exact. Now, the spell itself, I'll put the incantation in the body of the YouTube thing, so that way you guys can have that. Like I said, make it your own. It has to be personal to you. Regurgitating what I'm teaching you will do you no favors. Okay, so we make a circle. We call the quarters. We're going to light the black candle. Say 3 times while saying it, envision a protective bubble circling your home. So I like to think of a shield, and I'm going to quote a Disney movie just because I have kids, but in the movie Atlantis, the Disney movie Atlantis, you see that blue shield just go up over it, and it protects the city from, being completely devastated by water. I just kind of envision that. I have this blue transparent shield that goes up that I envision with the pentagram on top of it, completing it, okay? And then you say, I call upon Anu Macka Bavb, the trinity, as well as the animals, birds, and the trees. Keep us healthy, keep us safe, and keep illness and disease at bay. Hide us, keep us out of sight, all through the day and all through the night. The house and those that dwell inside will remain hidden and impossible to find. No longer fearful or afraid, let no one with ill will, negative energy, or ill intent find this place. Protected by Macka Bavb, Anu, the Morgan's trinity, as well as the birds, animals, and the trees. By my will, so mote it be. Okay, so you're going to fill the bottles with the herbs. It doesn't really matter how much you use. You're just going to open it, you're going to take it, you're going to put a little bit of each thing. I'm not going to do it, but you're going to put just a little bit in it. And then with these, so here's how I do it. I'm sure there's probably a better way, but I don't know what that is. So I'm just going to do it how I want to do it. It's challenging for me at first, but I get the hang of it eventually. So I use a wrench. And I use a hammer to bend the nails. So I put the nail in between the little groove thing in the back of I use this little groove thing here, and then I take the wrench, and then I just bend it. See, creates a bit now. There you go. You put that in there, and your body might have to play with it just so it can fit your bottle or whatever. And then you're going to put your urine, your spit, or your blood in it. And then you're going to seal it. Pour the wax over top until it's completely covered in black. And then after that, that's when you open the doorway to your circle. Your circle is sacred if it's closed, but to move about your circle, you have to open. So you just create a door. You go up, you go out, then when you look back at the circle, you do it in the opposite direction that you just did it in. And it creates a door for you to open and move about, okay? And you're gonna go through the house, sunwise, and you're going to start cleansing. So you're gonna take both of these at once, you're gonna light them, and you're going to take a feather, if you have one, and you're going to say, I cleanse it as you light it, and you have the smoke. You're going to get every corner of each room and just keep moving. I start at the very top floor and work my way down and get out of a doorway that's in the bottom floor. So that way I get the whole house at once. You're going to say as you do this, I cleanse this house of any ill will, ill intent, and negative energy. Okay, and you just keep saying it as you do it. I cleanse this house of any ill will, ill intent, negative energy, the whole time. And then you're going to go outside, and you're going to do the same thing. But I would carry the salt with you just to, be more practical with your time. As you are wafting away from you, you're going to pour the salt, and you're going to say, I create a barrier that cannot be destroyed by any element. No water, no snow, no wind, no sun, no rain, etc., etc. Like you're just going to keep saying that as you pour the salt, as well as I cleanse this property of any ill will, ill intent, and negative energy. And you're going to start with the eastern side, because that's just how you're supposed to do it. Like I said, use your compass so you know where you're at. and you're going to do it all around your property. A good perk of this, especially, I mean, just a little tidbit for giggles, if you salt your property, that's a protection thing right there, because anybody who sees you salt your property is not going to mess with you. They're going to think you're crazy. Whatever. I mean, it's like $2. $2 stops your house from getting broken in. Whatever, you know? Like, it works. Trust me. Trust me on that. Okay. So then once you are finished with doing the property, okay, cleansing it, now you're going to seal it. You're going to start up top again, and you're going to take the bottles that have the wax and everything on them and are completely sealed shut. You're going to go and place them on your doorways, and then you're going to go to your property. You're going to need a shovel. I use a little gardening shovel, and you're going to bury your mirror. Like I said, the mirror part is going to have to face away from your property, so that way evil can bounce off of it. Okay, you're going to have this. You're going to have your symbolic thing of oak in it, and then you're going to have some herbs to put in there. So I like to put patchouli in it, and then you put your bottle. So you're going to have 3 things in the ground for each direction. And then once you do that, you're finished with that. And you're going to go back towards your altar, and then you're going to open the doorway, because you remember you just left. You're going to open it, and then you're going to close it behind you as you get inside. Let's see. And then as you do that, you're going to say your spell again. I say my spells 3 times. And remember, say them with conviction and purpose. What you want to feel or should feel is energy rising from your lower body all the way up and being forced out of you when you say it. And you're going to say that, and then when you're done, you're going to open the circle. Okay, you're going to hail and farewell Anu Macka Bavb, the Trinity 3, the Morgan. You're going to hail and farewell her. Leave her an offering. Since it's the time of year, I would leave her apples. Apples are acorns, okay? Because they're very symbolic to her, and she appreciates it. Or whiskey. Loves whiskey. You're going to start, when you open the circle, you're going to go the opposite way. You're going to start with your west, and you're going to go, I call upon the watchtowers of the west and the element of water. Hail and farewell, and thank you for guarding the circle. Then you go to south. I call upon the watchtowers of the south and the element of fire. Hail and farewell, and thank you for guarding the circle. And you're going to do the whole pentagram like you did to seal it. You're going to do that to open it. And you're going to go to the east. I call upon the watchtowers of the east and the element of air. Hail and farewell, and thank you for guarding the circle. You go to the north. I call upon the watchtowers of the north and the element of earth. Hail and farewell, and thank you for guarding the circle. Then you're going to take your feather here, slice it down, and go, the circle of the Morgan is open, but her power and strength ever flows through me. And then you're done. Okay? Like I said, do this twice a year. It's better because you're doing it essentially before the veil really thins. If you're trying to keep things out, what I have done over the years, at least my results, because I have like a scientific experiment kind of mind, and there are books out there that will tell you the science behind witchcraft, because there's people who actually done experiments with it and recorded the results in a scientific fashion. My results are anybody who was sick wouldn't be able to come to my house. Something would happen. Or say if you're dating or something, the person wouldn't be able to come to your house. For me, if the person wasn't meant to come to my house, they'd end up getting rerouted like 30 minutes away. So they would never be able to get to my place unless somebody who dwelled here brought them here. But even after the person brought them here, the house would essentially be upset. You know, my one video that talks about the sentient home, your house is going to make you feel uncomfortable, and it's going to let you know what's there. Okay, it's going to say this person has to go. It cannot stay, and it'll make you completely uncomfortable until you enforce your boundaries and say get out. okay? It also stops any kind of incidents or anything from happening. It's almost like you're invisible. No, I'm not saying my magic will make you invisible like Harry Potter or anything, but magic is very, it's very mental based. It's linked to your unconscious and subconscious. So ideally what the spell's gonna do is if somebody has low vibrations, like ill will, ill intent, and negative energy, it's going to make them not even look at your property. Like they're not even going to be able to know that your property's there. They're just gonna bypass it. They're not gonna think about it. Like I said, I've done experiments with this, some pretty crazy ones because of where I live, but it works. And like I said, after you're done, you have to forget about it. You have to forget about it. Another way to enforce is if you also have wards. The Wiccan witchcraft books are really good at teaching how to use wards. I have a onyx crow, which is also symbolic of the Morgan. And crows are messengers from both realms. They are also, they're watchers, and they're sign that someone's looking out for you, okay? And onyx is a protective one. So when you give you kind of do the whole Slavic ways, you give them offerings. You give offerings to your wards, and you put and visualize your energy into it. Like I will my energy into this object, and it is supposed to go from room to make sure that we're protected. If you want like a third barrier to your home, like you've got the boundary for your property, now you have the thresholds of your house sealed. Another thing you can do, there's two other things you can do. You can take a shoe that has been worn every day by you and your family, so you need a shoe from each person, and put it in the main wall of your house. So think of the center wall, the foundation. If you put your shoes, it'll work the same way, kind of as a bottle. Whatever's being sent to you, that's ill will, ill intent, negative energy, it's going to go to something that has your essence in it. Think your shoes probably have blood in it, probably have sweat, whatever. And sweat's just urea, so a form of urine. So you're going to have that protection, and because the house loves and protects you, because you try to make it sentient, it's going to protect you. It's just going to absorb that negative energy and forward it out. Another thing you can do if you're not very practiced in witchcraft is to get a thing called a witch's orb. It's a circular glass orb. You hang it up in front of a window of your home, and essentially that's going to attract any kind of negative energy, ghosts, spirits, whatever. It's going to, like a moth to a flame, or those bug zappers. Imagine one of those bug zappers just getting closer and closer to it. Well, it absorbs it and traps it like a prison. So we have two prisons that we're trapping things in, because we mean business, but it will trap it, and then like when the full moon and new moon's out, you open your window, or you can even have the sun cleanse it. Just be careful so you don't start a fire. So it can cleanse the energy out of it. That's like the most basic way, but there you go. You have 3 different mechanisms to make sure that your house is a place of serenity and peace. Okay? Well, thank you guys for joining me on Witchy Wednesday. This is Belena with Aspire to the Self.